The transport shuttle's engines hummed their final descent as Lieutenant Maya Chen pressed her face against the viewport, watching Kepler station grow larger against the backdrop of the war-torn planet below. Orbital debris glinted like scattered diamonds around the detention facility, remnants of the battles that had raged for months between human and alien forces. Maya's assignment was simple: low-risk prisoner management on a backwater station. After 3 years of combat duty, she'd requested the transfer herself. She wanted quiet. She wanted routine. She wanted to forget the screams of dying soldiers and the smell of plasma burns. The docking bay was smaller than she'd expected, filled with the usual mix of maintenance crews and security personnel. Commander Torres, a grizzled veteran with cybernetic implants along his jaw, met her at the airlock. "Welcome to paradise, Lieutenant," he said, his voice carrying the mechanical undertone of his vocal processors. "Hope you're not expecting excitement. We've got 47 prisoners across 6 species. Most are low-level combatants and civilians caught in the crossfire." Maya shouldered her duffel bag. "That's exactly what I'm hoping for, sir." Torres led her through sterile corridors lined with reinforced doors. Each cell had a small window, and Maya couldn't help but glance through them as they passed. Most held humanoid species she recognized from briefings: Centauri with their crystalline skin, Morgani with their multiple arms, a few human deserters. "Your primary assignment is Block C," Torres continued. 18 prisoners, including our most interesting guest. They stopped at the end of the corridor, where a single cell sat isolated from the others. Through the reinforced transparent steel, Maya saw movement in the shadows. "Kira Velneth," Torres said, reading from his tablet. "Velkai female, captured during the Proxima 7 skirmish, feline humanoid species, known for their aggressive tendencies." Maya peered into the cell. In the far corner, huddled against the wall, sat a figure unlike anything she'd seen in the field reports. The alien woman had pale green skin that seemed to shimmer in the artificial light, and cascading red hair that fell in waves around her shoulders. She was humanoid but clearly not human. Her movements were too fluid, too graceful, like a predator at rest. "She's been here 6 weeks," Torres continued. "Refuses to speak, won't eat the standard rations. The other guards—" He paused, searching for words. "They think she's dangerous, unpredictable." Maya watched as Kira lifted her head, revealing striking features: high cheekbones, large eyes that seemed to hold depths of intelligence, and skin that bore intricate markings along her neck and arms. Their eyes met through the transparent steel, and Maya felt something unexpected. Not fear, but curiosity. "What's her story?" Maya asked. "Captured during a civilian evacuation. No weapons, no military rank we can determine. Could be a spy. Could be a refugee. Either way, she's our responsibility until command decides what to do with her." Over the next few hours, Maya familiarized herself with the facility routines. Feeding time was at 0800, 1200, and 1800 hours. The other guards performed their duties, with mechanical efficiency, sliding ration blocks through the food slots without making eye contact with the prisoners. When Maya reached Kira's cell for the evening feeding, she paused. The alien woman sat in the same corner, but her eyes tracked Maya's movement. There was something haunting about her stillness, something that reminded Maya of wounded animals she'd encountered as a child on her family's farm. Instead of sliding the standard ration block through the slot, Maya reached into her personal supplies and pulled out a packet of dried fruit, luxury items she'd brought from Earth. She opened the packet and placed several pieces on the tray before sliding it through. Kira's nostrils flared slightly, catching the scent. She approached the food slot cautiously, her movements liquid and careful. When she saw the fruit, her eyes widened with something that might have been surprise. For a long moment, they stared at each other through the transparent steel. Then slowly, Kira reached out and took a piece of the dried fruit. She sniffed it delicately before taking a small bite. Her expression changed. Not quite a smile, but a softening around her eyes. Maya found herself smiling back. "Better than ration blocks, right?" Kira tilted her head, studying Maya with new interest. She ate the rest of the fruit slowly, savoring each bite, her gaze never leaving Maya's face. As Maya walked away that evening, she felt eyes following her down the corridor. Tomorrow, she decided, she would bring something else. Something that might bridge the gap between captor and captive, between human and alien, between fear and understanding. She had no idea that this simple act of kindness would change both their lives forever. Maya's footsteps echoed differently in the corridor now, lighter, more purposeful. 3 weeks had passed since her first encounter with Kira, and what had started as simple compassion had evolved into something she couldn't quite name. Each morning, she brought something new. Fresh bread from the officer's mess, sweet berries from the hydroponics lab, sometimes just water flavored with herbs she'd grown in her quarters. Kira had begun anticipating these visits, positioning herself near the food slot when Maya approached, her red hair catching the artificial light like flames. "You're spoiling the alien," Guard Sergeant Rex Hawkins commented one morning, leaning against the corridor wall with his arms crossed. His partner, Corporal Diana Webb, smirked beside him. "She's eating," Maya replied simply, preparing Kira's breakfast tray. "That's more than she was doing before." "It's getting weird, Chen," Webb said. "The thing watches you like a lovesick pet. Yesterday, when I tried to do the feeding rotation, she actually hissed at me." Maya had heard about that incident. She'd also heard that Kira had refused to eat anything Webb offered, waiting until Maya's next shift to accept food. "Maybe she just doesn't like your cologne," Maya said, earning a scowl from Webb. As Maya approached Kira's cell, she could see the alien woman already waiting. Over the weeks, their routine had developed subtle complexities. Kira would watch Maya prepare the food, her large eyes tracking every movement. When Maya slid the tray through, their fingers would sometimes brush, just for a moment, and Maya had begun to notice the unusual warmth of Kira's skin. Today, something was different. As Maya knelt by the food slot, Kira moved closer to the transperisthial barrier than she ever had before. She placed her palm against the surface, and after a moment's hesitation, Maya matched the gesture on her side. The alien woman's lips moved, producing a sound Maya had never heard before, a soft melodic trill that seemed to come from deep in her throat. It wasn't threatening, it was almost musical. "Is that your language?" Maya asked softly. Kira's eyes brightened. She repeated the sound, then pointed to herself. "Kira," she said, her voice carrying an exotic accent that made Maya's name sound like a song. "Yes," Maya smiled. "I'm Maya. Kira." Attempted the name, her pronunciation careful and deliberate. Yeah." It was the first word Maya had heard her speak in Standard, and the sound sent an unexpected warmth through her chest. Their conversations became a daily ritual. Kira would demonstrate Velkai words, names for food, gestures of gratitude, expressions of emotion. In return, Maya taught her more standard phrases. The alien woman was remarkably quick to learn, her intelligence evident in how rapidly she absorbed new concepts. But it was the non-verbal communication that grew most profound. Kira had begun responding to Maya's moods with an almost supernatural intuition. When Maya arrived tired from double shifts, Kira would move more slowly, her gestures gentler. When Maya laughed at something, Kira's eyes would light up with what could only be described as joy. The protective behavior Webb had mentioned became more pronounced. During shift changes, when other guards passed by Kira's cell, the alien woman would position herself between them and where Maya usually stood. Her posture would change, becoming predatory and alert until Maya appeared. "It's not natural," Hawkins complained to Commander Torres during a briefing Maya accidentally overheard. "The aliens fixated on Chen could be a security risk." "Has the prisoner caused any actual problems?" Torres asked. "Well, no, but the behavior patterns are keeping her calm and cooperative," Torres interrupted. "Chen's doing good work. The prisoner's eating, following orders, and hasn't attempted escape. That's more than we can say for half the others." Maya felt a flush of pride, but also something else, a possessiveness she didn't entirely understand. The idea of someone else taking over Kira's care made her stomach clench with unexpected anxiety. That evening, as Maya delivered dinner, she found Kira sitting cross-legged on her cot, working on something with her hands. As Maya approached, she saw that the alien woman had been weaving together fibers from her bedding, creating intricate patterns with remarkable skill. Kira held up her creation, a small bracelet with complex geometric designs. She gestured toward and Maya then held the bracelet near the food slot. "For me?" Maya asked, surprised. Kira nodded, her expression almost shy. She slipped the bracelet through the slot, and Maya picked it up carefully. The woven fibers were softer than they looked, and the pattern seemed to shift in the light, creating an almost hypnotic effect. Maya slipped the bracelet onto her wrist. It fit perfectly, as if Kira had somehow known the exact size. "It's beautiful," she said. "Thank you." The smile that crossed Kira's face was radiant, transforming her features from merely striking to genuinely beautiful. Maya felt her breath catch. As the weeks continued, Maya found herself looking forward to their interactions with an intensity that surprised her. She would catch herself thinking about Kira during off hours, wondering what the alien woman was doing, whether she was comfortable, whether she was lonely. The realization hit her one evening as she was preparing for sleep. She was developing feelings for her prisoner. Not just professional interest or humanitarian concern, but something deeper, more personal, more dangerous. The bracelet on her wrist seemed to pulse with warmth, a constant reminder of the connection growing between them. Maya touched it gently, wondering what Kira was thinking in the solitude of her cell, whether she felt the same strange pull that was beginning to consume Maya's thoughts. Tomorrow, she decided, she would bring something special. Something that might help her understand whether this connection was real, or just the product of isolation and proximity. She had no idea that Kira was lying awake in her cell at that very moment, thinking the same thoughts, feeling the same confusion, and planning her own gesture of trust. The alarm's piercing wail shattered the station's usual quiet at 0347 hours. Maya jolted awake in her quarters, already reaching for her uniform as the emergency lights bathed everything in red. "All personnel to emergency stations, Commander." Torres's voice crackled through the comm system. "We have a Code 7 in Block A. Repeat, Code 7. Prisoner Riot." Maya's blood ran cold as she sprinted through the corridors. Block A was 2 sections away from Block C. But in a confined space station, nowhere was truly safe during a riot. The security briefing was chaos. 6 prisoners in Block A had somehow coordinated an escape attempt, overpowering 2 guards and seizing their weapons. They'd barricaded themselves in the central hub, demanding transport off the station. "Hawkins, Webb, secure Block B," Torres barked. "Chen, you're with me on lockdown protocol for Block C. We can't risk the other prisoners getting ideas." Maya's heart hammered as they reached Block C. The emergency lighting cast everything in an eerie red glow, and the usual hum of the station's systems was overwhelmed by distant shouts and the sound of plasma fire. As they began the lockdown sequence, sealing each cell with additional security protocols, Maya heard a sound that made her blood freeze. Kira's voice, raised in what could only be described as a war cry. At Kira's cell, chaos erupted. 2 prisoners from Block B had somehow breached the security barriers during the confusion. A Morgani with 4 powerful arms wielded a makeshift weapon, while a Zentari's crystalline skin crackled with bioelectric energy. They were heading straight for the security station where Maya stood. Before Torres could draw his weapon, Kira moved. The transparisteel barrier that had seemed so solid shattered like glass as Kira threw her full weight against it. Maya later learned that Velkai possessed strength far beyond what their lean frame suggested. But in that moment, she could only watch in stunned amazement as Kira launched herself at the Morgani. The alien woman fought with terrifying grace. Her movements were fluid, predatory, every strike calculated for maximum effect. The Morgani's forearms were no match for Kira's speed, and within seconds, he was on the ground, unconscious. The Zentari raised his hands, bioelectric energy crackling between his fingers, but Kira was already moving. She rolled under his attack and swept his legs, sending him crashing into the corridor wall with enough force to crack the reinforced metal. "Stand down," Torres shouted, his weapon trained on Kira. But Kira wasn't finished. She positioned herself, directly between the fallen prisoners and Maya, her body language unmistakable. Anyone who wanted to reach Maya would have to go through her first. Kira, Maya said softly, stepping forward despite Torres's sharp intake of breath. It's okay, they're down. Kira's head snapped toward Maya, her eyes wild with adrenaline and something deeper, a protective fury that Maya had never seen before. For a moment, Maya wasn't sure if Kira recognized her. Then, slowly, the alien woman's posture relaxed. Maya, Kira said, her voice rough with exertion. Safe? I'm safe, Maya replied, her voice catching with unexpected emotion. Because of you. The aftermath was swift. Security teams secured the unconscious prisoners, and the riot in Block A was contained within the hour. But the real crisis began during the medical examination. Kira had sustained several injuries during the fight: plasma burns on her arms, deep cuts from the Morgani's weapon, and what appeared to be internal bruising from the violence of her escape from the cell. Regulations state that injured prisoners receive treatment in the medical bay, Torres explained as they stood outside Kira's destroyed cell. But given her protective instincts, I think it's best if you handle the treatment, Chen. Maya found herself alone with Kira in an empty storage room that had been hastily converted into a medical station. Kira sat on a supply crate, watching Maya gather medical supplies with an intensity that made her hands shake. This might hurt, Maya warned as she began cleaning the plasma burns on Kira's arms. Kira made a soft sound, not quite a purr, but something similar, and remained perfectly still as Maya worked. The alien woman's skin was even warmer than Maya had expected, and impossibly soft despite its obvious strength. As Maya worked, she became acutely aware of their proximity. Kira's breathing was shallow, and Maya could see the rapid pulse in her throat. When Maya's fingers brushed against uninjured skin, Kira would inhale sharply, her eyes never leaving Maya's face. Why did you do it? Maya asked quietly as she applied healing gel to a particularly nasty cut. You could have been killed. Kira was quiet for so long that Maya thought she wouldn't answer. Then in her carefully pronounced standard, she said, You see, Kira, not monster. Maya's hands stilled. You're not a monster. Others think so. Fear, Kira. She struggled with the words, then switched to Velkai, producing a series of musical sounds that somehow conveyed more emotion than any translation could. What does that mean? Maya asked. Kira reached out, her fingers hovering just above Maya's cheek. May I? Maya nodded, not trusting her voice. Kira's touch was gentle, reverent almost. Her fingers traced along Maya's cheekbone, then down to her jaw. In Velkai, means heart-chosen, means... She searched for the right word. Precious beyond life. Maya's breath caught. The medical supplies forgotten, she found herself leaning into Kira's touch. The alien woman's eyes were large and luminous in the dim light, filled with an emotion Maya was afraid to name. Kira, Maya whispered. Maya, Kira replied and leaned forward. Their lips met hesitantly, a question asked and answered. Kira's lips were warm and soft, and she tasted like the sweet fruit Maya had been bringing her. The kiss was gentle at first, then deeper as Maya's hands found their way to Kira's shoulders, careful of her injuries. When they broke apart, both were breathing hard. Kira rested her forehead against Maya's, her eyes closed. Dangerous. Kira murmured. Very, Maya agreed. But neither of them pulled away. Outside, the station was returning to normal. Emergency lights were switching back to standard illumination, and the all-clear signal would sound soon. But in their small, improvised medical bay, Maya and Kira held each other, both knowing that everything had changed. They had crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. What had started as kindness had become something deeper, more complex, more dangerous than either had anticipated. As Maya finished treating Kira's wounds, their hands would brush, their eyes would meet, and the air, between them would crackle with tension. When Maya finally had to leave, Kira caught her hand. "Be careful, Maya," she said. "Others watch now. See difference." Maya squeezed Kira's hand gently. "You be careful too." As Maya walked back to her quarters, she could feel the weight of eyes following her. Hawkins and Webb stood at the end of the corridor, their expressions unreadable. Torres watched from his office window, his cybernetic jaw clicking thoughtfully. Everyone had seen what happened during the riot. Everyone had seen Kira's protective fury, her willingness to die for Maya. And now everyone would be watching to see what happened next. Maya touched the bracelet on her wrist, still warm from Kira's touch, and realized that the most dangerous part of their story was just beginning. The maintenance tunnels beneath Kepler Station were forgotten spaces, cramped, dimly lit conduits that housed the life support systems keeping everyone aboard alive. They were also the only place Maya and Kira could meet without surveillance. 3 days had passed since the riot, and the tension on the station was suffocating. Kira had been moved to a maximum security cell with enhanced monitoring, officially for displaying violent tendencies. Unofficially, Maya knew Torres was separating them. Maya crawled through the narrow access tunnel, her heart pounding with anticipation and fear. The maintenance shaft connected to an unused storage compartment near Block C, a route she'd discovered while studying the station's technical schematics. Kira was already waiting when Maya emerged from the tunnel, having somehow escaped her enhanced cell with an ease that should have been impossible. The alien woman moved like liquid shadow in the confined space, and Maya realized she'd been vastly underestimating Velkai capabilities. "How do you keep getting out?" Maya whispered. Kira's lips curved in what might have been amusement. "Velkai, not meant for cages," she said, her standard improving daily. "But only come when Maya calls." Maya had left small signals, marks on corridor walls, adjustments to her duty roster, that Kira somehow interpreted as invitations. It was like they were developing their own secret language. In the dim light of the storage compartment, surrounded by obsolete equipment and spare parts, they created their own world. Maya would bring food, medical supplies for Kira's healing injuries, and sometimes just herself. Tonight was different. Tonight, Kira had something to show her. "You asked about my people," Kira said, settling beside Maya on a makeshift seat of cargo containers. "About who I am." Maya nodded. She'd been curious about Kira's background. The alien woman clearly wasn't just a random civilian caught in the war. Kira pulled something from within her clothing, a small device that Maya didn't recognize. When Kira activated it, holographic images filled the air between them. "My name is Kira Velneth of the 7th Pack," Kira began, and the holograms showed images of a world unlike anything Maya had ever seen. Crystalline cities that grew from living stone, vast forests with trees that seemed to pulse with their own light, and Velkai moving among them with grace and purpose. "7th Pack?" Maya asked. "Diplomatic caste," Kira explained. "I was ambassador to your people, came to negotiate peace." The holograms shifted, showing Kira in elaborate, ceremonial robes surrounded by other Velkai who radiated authority and wisdom. Maya's breath caught. "You're an ambassador." "Was," Kira repeated, sadness coloring her voice. "Ship attacked during approach. Crew killed. I survived, was captured." The holograms showed the wreckage of what had once been a magnificent vessel, now scattered across space. "Why didn't you tell them? Tell Torres who you are?" Kira's expression darkened. "Would not matter. Humans see only enemy. Some humans," she corrected, her hand finding Maya's, "see more." The weight of this revelation settled over Maya. Kira wasn't just a prisoner. She was a diplomat whose capture might have prevented peace negotiations. Her imprisonment could be considered an act of war. "Your people," Maya said slowly. "They must be looking for you." "Yes. But finding you..." Kira's fingers intertwined with Maya's. "Finding you changes everything." In the quiet of their hidden sanctuary, Maya became intensely aware of Kira's proximity. The alien woman's skin seemed to glow faintly in the darkness, and her red hair caught what little light filtered through the vents. When Kira looked at her, Maya felt exposed, as if the alien woman could see directly into her soul. "Changes how?" Maya whispered. Instead of answering with words, Kira leaned forward, her lips finding Maya's in the darkness. This kiss was different from their first. Deeper, more urgent, filled with weeks of longing and the knowledge that their time might be limited. Maya's hands found their way to Kira's hair, the silky strands sliding through her fingers like liquid fire. Kira made a soft sound, almost a purr, and pulled Maya closer. "Your skin," Maya murmured against Kira's neck. "It's so warm." "Velkai run hot," Kira explained, her breath catching as Maya's lips traced along her collarbone. "Always." Maya could feel the truth of it. Kira's skin was fever warm, almost burning, where they touched. When Maya's hands slipped beneath Kira's shirt, mapping the lean muscle of her back, the alien woman arched against her with a grace that was purely inhuman. "Maya," Kira breathed, and hearing her name in that musical voice sent shivers down Maya's spine. They moved together in the darkness, exploring this new dimension of their connection. Kira's touch was reverent, as if Maya were something precious and fragile. When their clothes became obstacles, they removed them slowly, savoring each new inch of skin revealed. Kira's body was a study in contrasts, powerful and delicate, alien and familiar. The markings Maya had noticed on her neck and arms continued across her torso in intricate patterns that seemed to shift and flow in the dim light. "Beautiful," Maya whispered, tracing the patterns with her fingertips. Kira caught Maya's hand, pressing it flat against her chest where her heart hammered with inhuman speed. "Feel," she said. "Feel how you change me." Maya could feel it, the rapid pulse, the heat radiating from Kira's skin, the way her breathing became shallow whenever Maya touched her. It was intoxicating to have such an effect on someone so powerful, so graceful. Their lovemaking was gentle but intense, filled with soft sounds and whispered words in two languages. Kira's voice became musical when overcome with sensation, producing trills and harmonics that Maya felt as much as heard. Afterward, they lay entwined on Maya's jacket, which served as a makeshift blanket. Kira's head rested on Maya's shoulder, her red hair spilling across Maya's chest like silk. "This is dangerous," Maya said, but her arms tightened around Kira even as she spoke. "Very dangerous," Kira agreed. "For both of us." Maya knew she was right. If they were discovered, Maya would face court-martial at minimum. Kira, as an enemy alien, could face execution. But in this moment, with Kira's warm weight against her and the alien woman's unique scent filling her senses, Maya couldn't bring herself to care. "There's something else," Kira said quietly. "Something you must know." Maya felt tension creep into Kira's body. "What is it?" "Prisoner transfers," Kira said. "Overheard guards talking. Next week, high-value prisoners being moved to processing center." Maya's blood went cold. She'd heard rumors about the processing center, a military facility where alien prisoners disappeared into classified projects. Some were used for medical experimentation, others simply vanished. "No," Maya said firmly. "I won't let that happen." Kira lifted her head, studying Maya's face in the darkness. "You would risk everything? For me?" Maya thought about her military career, her family's expectations, the life she'd built for herself. Then she looked into Kira's luminous eyes and knew there was only one answer. "Yes," she said. "I would risk everything." Kira's smile was radiant even in the dim light. She leaned down and kissed Maya softly, a promise sealed between them. Then, "We must plan," Kira said, "because I will not go quietly." As they held each other in their hidden sanctuary, both women knew they were crossing a point of no return. What had begun as kindness had become love, and what had begun as love was about to become rebellion. Outside their stolen moment, the R station continued its routine operations, unaware that two hearts had joined in defiance of regulations, species barriers, and the war that raged beyond the stars. But love, Maya was learning, made its own rules. The maintenance tunnels had become their war room. Maya spread technical schematics across the cramped floor, while Kira studied them with the tactical mind of a trained diplomat. The prisoner transfer was scheduled for 600 hours, less than 18 hours away. Security escort will be minimal, Maya explained, pointing to the route marked on the schematics. 2 guards, standard restraints. They're not expecting trouble from diplomatic personnel. Kira's expression was grim. They do not know, Velkai. Restraints will not hold me when time comes. Maya had learned not to question Kira's capabilities. The alien woman had skills that defied human understanding, lockpicking that bordered on magical, an ability to move through the station's ventilation systems like they were highways, and combat prowess that had left 2 prisoners unconscious during the riot. The transport bay has limited surveillance, Maya continued. If we can create a distraction during the shift change. Maya. Kira's hand covered hers, warm and steady. You understand what this means? If we do this, no going back. You cannot return to old life. Maya had been thinking about little else. Her military career would be over. She'd be branded a traitor. Her family would be disgraced. And she'd be hunted by both human and alien authorities. But the alternative, watching Kira disappear into the processing center's classified programs, was unthinkable. I know, Maya said. But I also know I can't live with myself if I let them take you. Kira leaned forward, pressing her forehead against Maya's, a Velkai gesture of deep affection Maya had learned. In my culture, when 2 souls bond as ours have, they become one pack. Where one goes, both go. Then let's go together, Maya whispered. Their plan was elegant in its simplicity. Maya would report a fabricated emergency in Block A during the prisoner transfer, drawing security away from the transport bay. Kira would disable her restraints and overpower the guards. Maya would provide weapons and access codes. Then they'd steal a maintenance shuttle and rendezvous with a smuggler's ship that Kira claimed would be waiting in the asteroid field. You trust this smuggler? Maya asked. Captain Voss owes my pack significant debt, Kira replied. She will honor it. As they finalized their preparations, Maya felt the weight of what they were about to do. She was betraying everything she'd sworn to protect, abandoning duty for love. But when she looked at Kira, brilliant, fierce, beautiful Kira, she knew she was making the right choice. The night before the escape, they made love with desperate intensity in their hidden sanctuary. Every touch carried the weight of their uncertain future, every kiss a promise to face whatever came together. Whatever happens tomorrow, Maya whispered against Kira's skin. I want you to know. I've never felt about anyone the way I feel about you. Nor I, Kira replied, her musical voice thick with emotion. You saved me, Maya, not just from prison but from losing hope. Dawn came too quickly. Maya was at her post in the security center when the prisoner transfer began. On the monitors, she watched Kira being led through the corridors in reinforced restraints, flanked by guards Hawkins and Webb. Kira's expression was serene, but Maya could see the coiled tension in her posture. At precisely 0557 hours, Maya triggered the false alarm in Block A. Emergency in Cell A7, she shouted into her comm. Prisoner down, possible medical crisis. The response was immediate. Commander Torres ordered additional security to Block A, pulling guards from other stations. Within minutes, the transport bay was left with minimal supervision. Maya watched on the monitors as Kira and her escorts reached the transport bay. Right on schedule, Kira moved. The restraints that had seemed so secure simply fell away from her wrists. Before Hawkins could react, Kira had spun and struck him in the neck with surgical precision. He dropped instantly, unconscious but unharmed. Webb reached for her weapon, but Kira was already moving. A graceful leap, a precisely applied pressure point, and Webb joined her partner on the floor. Maya abandoned her post and ran for the transport bay, her heart hammering. She found Kira dragging the unconscious guards to a storage alcove, handling their dead weight with disturbing ease. "They'll be unconscious for hours," Kira assured her. "No permanent harm." Maya handed over the weapons and access codes she'd prepared. Kira's fingers lingered on hers as she took them, and for a moment the alien woman's composed mask slipped, revealing the fear beneath. "Second thoughts?" Maya asked. "Never," Kira said firmly. "But I fear for you. What we do now makes you enemy of your own kind." "You're my kind now," Maya replied. They stole a maintenance shuttle with minimal resistance. Maya's access codes got them past the automated security, and within minutes, they were clear of the station. Behind them, alarms began to wail as their escape was discovered. The asteroid field beyond Kepler station was a maze of spinning rock and metal debris. Maya piloted while Kira worked the communications array, searching for their contact. "There," Kira said, pointing to a sleek ship that emerged from behind a large asteroid. "Captain Voss." The docking with Voss's ship was tense. The captain, a grizzled human woman with cybernetic implants and suspicious eyes, looked Maya up and down with obvious distrust. "You didn't mention bringing human cargo," she said to Kira. "She is not cargo," Kira replied, an edge of danger in her voice. "She is my chosen mate. We travel together or not at all." Voss's expression shifted as she processed this information. In the outer colonies, interspecies relationships weren't unheard of, but they were still rare enough to cause comment. "Your funeral," Voss said finally. "But my rates just doubled." As Voss's ship jumped to hyperspace, carrying them away from human-controlled territory, Maya felt the full weight of what she'd done. Behind them, her old life was dissolving. Her career, her family, her identity as a human soldier. Ahead lay the unknown dangers of the outer colonies, where humans and aliens existed in an uneasy peace built on mutual need rather than trust. Kira found her in the ship's small observation deck, staring out at the stars streaming past in hyperspace. "Regrets?" Kira asked, settling beside her. Maya considered the question seriously. She would miss her family, her friends, the sense of purpose her military service had provided. But when she looked at Kira, her alien lover, her partner in rebellion, her new future, she felt only certainty. "No regrets," Maya said, taking Kira's warm hand in hers. "Where are we going?" "The fringe worlds," Kira replied. "Independent colonies where questions are not asked. There is a place there, new. Harmony, where many species live together. We can build new life." "Together?" "Together," Kira confirmed, bringing Maya's hand to her lips. "Whatever comes, we face as one pack." As their ship carried them toward an uncertain but shared future, Maya reflected on the strange turns her life had taken. She'd come to Kepler station seeking quiet routine, and had found instead the love of her life. She'd lost everything she thought she wanted, and gained everything she needed. In the outer colonies, their story would become legend. The human soldier who chose love over duty. The alien diplomat who found redemption in the arms of her former captor. But for Maya and Kira, it was simply the beginning of their real life, together. Love, they had learned, was the most powerful force in the universe. It could bridge species, defy authority, and transform enemies into soulmates. And sometimes, if you were very lucky, it could save you both. The stars streamed past, their window as they journeyed toward their new home, two hearts beating as one across the vast darkness of space.